so you can see my feet. So standing feet hip width apart, knees nice soft bend in the knees, not locked, nice and soft, but not really bent. So we're just going to start with that rocking forwards and backwards, just paying attention to the weight within the feet, weight within the foot, so we're not leaning into the arches or the outsides. Just rocking that weight over the balls of the feet. Try not to grip with the toes. Allow the core to be what stops you from tipping over. So on this next one, we're just going to find that nice corset muscle, tighten as we're leaning in forwards. We're going to maintain that core engagement as we come back over the heels. Again, nice and evenly distributed, and then just soften through the knees a little bit more. We're just going to work our pelvis now with some pelvic tilts. So what you think about is really squeezing that tailbone between the legs, tipping that pelvis backwards, and then creating a nice big arch in that lower spine as we tip forward. So just really mobilizing through that lower back area, which we worked on quite a bit last week. Just rocking that pelvis forwards and backwards, and then finding that in between, so somewhere in between those two extremes with a slight tuck of the tailbone between the legs, and then also drawing up through the pelvic floor as well, so everything feels nice and tight around the center. We're then going to take the arms up towards the ceiling, keeping that tailbone tucked under. We're just going to open up the front of the body by taking the gaze up towards the ceiling, bringing the arms back with you, but also keeping that tailbone tucked under, if hopefully that makes sense. And then exhale breath, we're bringing ourselves back to center, gaze back to the horizon. Let's just do a couple more of those. So inhale breath, take that gaze up, bring those arms back, opening up the chest. And then exhale breath, think about connecting the rib cage back down towards the hips as we come back to our neutral spine. Let's go for two more. Inhaling it back, gaze goes up, pelvis stays in neutral. Exhale, bring ourselves back to center. Last one. And then bringing ourselves back to center, just relaxing the arms down to the side, maybe a couple of nice big shoulder rolls, sliding those shoulder blades down the back of the back. And finally setting those shoulder blades down the back of the back. We're going to bring the hands to a double salute position, take it into a nice lateral side bend now. So we're going to bring the right tip of the elbow up towards the ceiling, finding length into the right side of the waist. So really separating that bottom right rib from that top of that right hip bone. So finding that nice deep stretch in the side of the body. Take an inhale breath into that stretch, and as we exhale, we're pulling ourselves back to center. We're going to work quite a bit on the side of the body today, and then going down the other side. So the tip of the left elbow reaches up towards the ceiling. Find that length into the left-hand side of the waist. Inhale breath into that stretch. And then exhale breath as we pull ourselves back to center. Let's go one more to each side, just mobilizing through that spine. Reach that elbow up towards the ceiling. Exhale breath, coming back through center, really working those obliques. That's what's pulling us back through the center. And then exhale breath, coming back to center. Nice. Let's work some rotation now. So just relaxing the arms down to the side and then bringing them out to about 45 degrees. We're just going to rotate. So keep the hips facing the front as we just rotate through the spine. And then just start to slow that down. As we slow that down, just allow the arms to come back to center. Let me just let Seb in. Right, now we're going to do a little bit of leg work. So we're going to widen out through the legs and just work some squats. Again, I'll stand to the side. So the feet are a little bit wider than hip width. We're going to take it as a hip hinge. So we're going to hinge from the hips, pushing the bottom backwards, keeping the spine nice and upright. And then we bend through the knees. We're going to reach those arms forwards. So nice and deep into that squat. Reach the arms forward. Spine stays nice and long. And then driving up through the heels back out of that squat. Slight tuck of the tailbone at the top and then back down again. So it's a hip hinge first, push that bottom back, bending through the knees, reach those arms overhead, keep that spine nice and long. And then exhale, breath driving out through the heels as we come back out of that squat. Slight tuck of the tailbone underneath, hi Seb. And then reach those arms forwards, weight back over the heels, nice and deep if we can with that squat. And then exhaling out through the mouth as we come back up. Last one. And then we're going to do a split squat, so working more on one leg. Down nice and deep. And then pressing back out through those heels. So keeping the feet reasonably wide. We're going to take a step back with the left foot. So the right foot stays. So it's almost like we're on a railway track. So we're not in a narrow position with the legs, still quite nice and wide for balance. Just going to work the legs a little bit here. Now you can't see my head. We don't need to. So we're going to come up with the left heel. So the weight is on the left ball of the feet. Bending through this left behind knee, we're going to come down. So placing the knee down directly underneath the left hip as we bend through that right knee. Almost kiss the floor with the knee and then come straight back up. Spine stays nice and tall and upright. Imagine we're balancing a book on the crown of the head. So press through that front right foot as we come back up and out. So we get a really nice stretch through the front of that left hip. Let's go for 3 more. 1. Wake up those quads. Last 2. Almost kiss the floor with the knee. And last one, we're going to hover that left knee just above the floor. And we're going to just pulse for 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Nice leg coming out of that squat. Well done. Give the legs a little bit of a shake off before we do the other side. So again, spine stays nice and lengthened and tall. Find that nice wide stance. We're going to step that right foot back this time onto the balls of the feet. So transferring that weight forward. So the weight's going to go through this left leg. And we're going to keep the spine upright as we bend through this back right knee, almost kissing the floor with the knee, and then straight back up again. So we should feel a really nice stretch down the right hand side of the hip there, and back up. The weight is going through this front left foot, working this left leg. Let's go for 4, 3, 2, and last one. We're going to stay with that little hover of that right knee back behind there as we pulse it for 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1, and come back up out of that squat. Well done. Wow, that was really got the legs on fire there. Well done. So let's make our way down to the floor. Again, we're going to keep the legs quite wide. So we're going to straddle the mat this time. We're going to take it into a hip hinge. So keep the knees soft. We're going to hinge the hips back, keeping that spine nice and tall as we come down into a tabletop. So we're going to feel that lovely stretch all the way down the back of the legs there, into the calves, into the hamstrings. Inhale, breath, and we're going to exhale as we hinge back up. So just finding this length into the back of the legs there. Let's go down one more time into our tabletop position. So press those hips back, hinging from the hips, weight back over the heels. We're going to bring the arms out to the side, level with the shoulders. We're going to hold for 4, for 3, 2, and 1. Then bring it down into a flop position. So flex through the spine, relax the arms, let the head dangle. Feel that really nice lengthening down the back of the neck. back of the neck, back of the legs. Take an inhale breath. We're going to roll back up now. So start to think about turning that tailbone underneath, bringing that pelvis back upright, scooping the tummy button up towards the spine as we slowly roll the spine back up. Making sure we've moved in every direction before we start. Nice big shoulder roll. When we reach the top, reset those shoulders down the back of the back. Let's roll it down now. Still with that nice wide leg stance. So chin comes towards the chest, lengthen through the back of the neck first. Roll, start to roll the spine down, peeling away from that imaginary brick wall. You should find it a little bit easier with this wide leg to get the hands nice and flat to the floor. If you need to, pop a little bend into the knee. So palms nice and flat to the mat. We're just going to do some inchworms now. So we're just going to walk the hands down the mat, coming into a wide leg plank position. So the wrists end up underneath the shoulders, the bottom lowers level with the body, but don't hang the hips. Keep that bottom level. Take an inhale breath. As we exhale, we're going to walk the hands back towards the feet, transferring the weight back through the feet again. Take an inhale breath where we're flopping at the top here, and then exhale as we roll the spine back up and back out. Let's go for one more of those. Inhale breath to prepare. Exhale breath, chin comes towards the chest. Start to roll the spine down. And then when the hands reach the floor, let's walk it out into our plank. So walk the hands down, wrists underneath the shoulders. Let's activate the shoulders as well. So really press that floor away. Bottoms level with the body. We're going to hold it there for 4 nice deep breaths. So in through the nose, out through the mouth. Last 2. And last one, bringing the knees down onto the mat. Have a little sit back into the heels there. Reach that bottom back into the heels. Bring the forehead down in between the arms. Nice deep breaths. Breathe into the back of the rib cage. Find that expansion. And then just a little bit of work on the back of the body. We're going to go with triceps into a Pilates press. So we want to be going into a 3/4 plank. So the knees are behind the hips, if you know what I mean. So wrists underneath the shoulders. So we're in a nice diagonal line, core switched on. The creases of the elbows want to be facing the front because we want to be working the back of the arm here. So core stays nice and strong. As we bend through the elbows, we're inhaling as we lower down. You might not be able to reach the floor here. And then exhale as we press back up again. We're going to go for 4 more Pilates press, nice and slow. So inhaling as we lower, working the backs of the arms, almost brush the rib cage with the elbows on the way down. Keep those elbows tight to the body. Last 3. Exhaling as we press the floor away. Last 2. Lovely, Abby. That looks good, everyone. And last one, we're lowering down. Inhale, exhale, slowly press back up. Sit that bottom back into the heels, take it into that child's pose, release, stretch. Bring the forehead down towards the floor. And take some nice deep breaths there. And then to take our focus now down the body, down to the glutes, lower back. So we're going to bring the elbows. Let's give the wrists a bit of a rest. Elbows are going to replace where the hands were. So the elbows are directly underneath the shoulders. Knees are going to come directly underneath the hips here. So we're in that sort of 4-point kneeling position. Neck stays nice and long. So almost imagine you pushing the ceiling away with the back of the head. We're going to slide the right foot, fully extend the right foot, keeping those hips square towards the floor. We're going to squeeze from that right glute and lift the right leg up level with the body, but making sure the hips stay square, and then just lower back down. Tap the floor with the toe and straight back up again. So still working that core nice and strong. And lower. Again, pressing the back of the head towards the ceiling, squeezing from that right glute as we extend and lift that right leg. Let's go for 4 more. Keep those hips nice and still. Last 3. Last 2. Keep that left hip directly over that left knee as well, so the hip's not swaying out to the side. Last one, leg is going to stay extended. We're going to bend through that right knee, flex through that right ankle, and almost imagine you're squeezing the ceiling away with the heel. So nice strong contraction with that right glute. That looks perfect, everyone. We're going to go for 6 more. Squeeze really strong. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Squeeze, squeeze, squeeze. Bring the knee back underneath that hip. Have a little sit back into the heels again. Bring the forehead down towards the floor. Let's just lengthen everything back out before we do the other side. So coming back, bring those shoulders back over the elbows again. This time we're going to extend that left leg out, just making sure the hips, the front of the hips are facing the floor. Keep those hips square. Imagine you've got a spirit level across that lower back. So toe to the floor, and then squeezing from the left glute, lifting that leg level with the body, and control back down. Kiss the floor with that big toe, and straight back up again. Keep that powerhouse switched on. Everything stays nice and still. Last 4. Squeeze. So working that big muscle in the bottom on this one. Last 2. It's quite a glutey one tonight. And last one, the leg stays lifted. Level with the body. We're going to bend through that left knee, flex through that left ankle, and then just squeeze the ceiling away with the left heel. We're pulsing. We're going for 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2. Squeeze 1. Well done. Bring the knee back underneath the hip again. Have a little sit back, release, stretch into the heels. Just lengthen everything back out again. Nice deep breath into the back of the rib cage. And then we're going to do a bit of work on the side of the body next. So we're going to come up into a standing kneel, which looks like this. Everybody all right with kneeling? That's with mommy. So standing kneel onto the knees. We're going to extend the right leg out to the side so the foot is level with the left knee. We're going to take it into our double salute position again, and then we're going to lean away from this right leg into that lovely diagonal line. So really keep that core nice and strong as we lean away from that leg. This underneath left arm, we're going to bring down. We're going to almost see if we can tap the floor with the fingertips, bring it back to that double salute, and then squeezing back up, really working the right side of the waist as we come back to center. So it looks like this. We're leaning away, 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 away. See if we can go a little bit further each time. Tap the floor with the fingertips. Bring it back to that salute. And then exhale as we squeeze ourselves back to center. Let's just keep that going. Keep that right foot nice and flat to the floor. Tap, salute, and then pull ourselves back to center. Inhale as we lower. Nice. Tap it down. Back to salute. Squeezing back to center. Last two. And on this last one, we're going to hold in that diagonal line. So keep the salute, and then we're going to rotate in, if we can, towards the floor. Challenging, try to keep those hips nice and still. Bring it back to center, and then back up to that standing kneel position. Well done. Coming down onto the mat onto our side. So keep the feet out in this direction. We're going to work the underneath side of the waist now. So bringing the left elbow directly underneath the left shoulder. Level 1, keep both knees bent. Level 2, we're going to keep that right leg extended out to the side. I think we'll probably all be okay with that. So, right arm comes across the body. Left shoulder and left elbow is pushing into the mat, shoulders away from the ear. Take the gaze down towards the floor. We're going to lift the hips up towards the ceiling as we reach that right arm up towards the ceiling as well. Lift and then control back down. Try not to crash back down. So the only reason I'm telling you to gaze down towards the mat is just so we don't strain the neck. Lift those hips up, reach for the ceiling with the hips and the arm, and lower back down. So working the left-hand side of the waist here. Let's go for 4 more. Lift, lift, lift. Just make sure that shoulder stays away from the ear. Last 3. Pressing up. Last 2. And last one. Pressing those hips towards the ceiling, lovely. Bringing that bottom down with control, and then taking it all the way down onto our sides. Working some glute work now. So just bringing the feet directly underneath the bottom, nice bend into the knee. So relaxing the head onto the arm or the hand. Hips are stacked one on top of the other. So we're going to work abduction first. So we're literally removing the top leg from the bottom leg. Knee and foot stays at that same level as we lift that top leg away. Squeezing up, not too high. And then inhale as we lower, making sure those hips stay square and stacked. Lifting, just removing the top leg from the bottom leg. Perfect. Core stays nice and strong, so try not to melt down into the floor. Keep that a little bit of daylight in between the waist and the mat. Lifting and lowering. So we're just going to work in every direction. So work the big glute max when we were on our all fours at the beginning. So we're working the side of the bottom at the moment. Last 2. And last one, we're going to stay lifted. So the knee and the foot is just above hip level. We're going to externally rotate now. So we're going to keep the knee where it is, and we're going to tap the toes together. Tap, and then bring that foot back level with the knee. So it's a small toe tap. So think about that external rotation from the top part of the leg in this hip ball and socket joint in the hip. Tap and back. Tap and back. So you should start to feel it now. Almost like cramp on the outside of the bottom. Last 2. And last one. Squeeze those feet together, bring that foot back level with the knee. Now the foot is going to stay where it is, and we're just going to bring the knees together. So we're internally rotating. Oh. Oh. Where is everybody? Jack was ringing, or went off. So tap the knees, bring it back. I won't make you do 2 more because I've just missed out about 5 reps. And last one, bringing those knees together and then bringing ourselves back and then lowering the knees and the feet back together again, giving that bottom a really nice rub there. We're going to stretch it out slightly, so just rolling onto our backs. Let's just bring that right foot. So make sure we imprint the spine here. Right foot comes across left knee. If that's enough of a stretch for you, just stay there. So imprinting the spine down, we're going to bring that left leg up into tabletop position. Grab hold of that right ankle. Just feel that really gorgeous stretch into that right glute. Grabbing hold of that foot there just to take the pressure off the hip flexor on that left side. And then lower it back down. Well done. Bringing both feet back down onto the floor. Completely forgotten what I was doing next now. Okay, yeah. So let's engage those really deep core muscles. So we're going to build up this ab work. So making sure that pelvis is in neutral. So the hip bones and pubic bone are on that same level. There's a slight arch into that lower spine, but only very slight. So we're going to bring the right leg up into tabletop position without any lift from the spine, and then place that right foot back down on the floor. Again, no lift from the spine. Left leg comes up into tabletop and lower back down. So we're going to build this up. If at any point it feels uncomfortable, just go back a level. So hopefully you start to feel those deep core muscles start to engage. On this next one, we're going to bring the right leg up into tabletop position, engaging through the core even more, bringing the left leg up to join it. So this is our new start position now, keeping that spine from lifting. We're just tapping that toe down and then coming back up. Almost try to reach towards the end of the mat though, so we're not folding the knees and cheating. So it's a little reach towards the edge of the mat and then straight back up again. That's lovely. So just keep that going. If you want to take it up another level, bring the hands behind the head. So interlinking the fingers behind the head. Exhale, breath. We're going to lift the chin and shoulder blades away from the mat and just add in that extra abdominal work as we lift, chest lift as well. That looks really nice, everyone. Keep it going. And then if you want to make it a little bit harder, when we're back up in tabletop position, we're going to extend the legs and work straight legs. Again, no lift from the spine. If you want to make it into a little bit more of a stretch as well, we can remove the hands from behind the head and just start to add in that gentle pull at the top. So just find that really nice stretch into the back of the legs, almost imprinting that lower back deeply down into the mat as we do this. Keep breathing, don't hold the breath. Let's go for 4 more on each side. 1. 2. 3. And last ones, whichever level you're working. And 4, nice, well done. Bring the head and shoulders down if they're not already. Hug the knees in towards the chest. Relax those abdominals. Have a little roll around on that lower back. So last week we did a lot of work on the roll up. So we're going to do a few roll ups in the middle of the class just to keep ourselves reminding ourselves what to do. So I'll give you some options. If you struggle a little bit with the roll up, which isn't often abdominal strength, it can be spine mobility. Using the band, we're going to put the band one in each hand, the band in each hand, and then just loop the band over that right foot. We're going to extend the right foot up towards the ceiling, and if we can, walk that left leg away. So we should be nicely imprinted down with the spine here, feeling a really nice stretch down the back of that leg. Inhale breath here as we exhale, chin comes towards the chest, give yourself that double chin. We're going to push the foot into the band as we lift the chin towards the chest. So C curving the top of the spine and then rolling the spine up, up, up. If you need to at any point, use the elbow for a little bit of assistance. When we do reach the top, lengthen it out, reach the crown of the head towards the ceiling, and then coming back down, tucking that tailbone under, rolling onto the back of the pelvis, and just slowly lowering down. So that's the band option. And then switch sides. So we do both sides, both legs. Other option, full roll up. So bringing the arms up above the shoulders, anchoring the shoulders down into the floor. Inhale, breath here. Exhale, breath. We're going to bring the chin towards the chest, feeling the spine away from the mat. Lifting nice and tall at the top, reaching those arms up towards the ceiling, and then bringing the arms back level with the shoulders, and doing exactly the same thing without that leg raise, tucking that tailbone under and slowly rolling back down, using the abdominals there to control the speed of that roll down. We can add in that lovely stretch at the bottom, so reaching the arms behind the head. Inhale, breath, really stretch out the abdominals. Exhale, breath, arms come up, chin comes towards the chest, so nice and fluid, peeling that spine away. We can start to add in that spine stretch at the top as well now, so reaching those arms forward and then parallel with the legs, adding in that lovely C curve as we pull the arms forward, pull the waist back. That's it, lovely. Nice, so well done. Reaching nice and tall and then rolling it back. So just a little bit of roll up and down practice in the middle of the class, just to keep the toe in. Reach those arms behind the head if we're going full roll up. Nice big inhale breath. Exhale, arms come up. Don't forget, if we're using the band, to just switch the legs over. Sit nice and tall on top of the sit bones. Arms come parallel with the legs. Gentle pull forwards with the hands as the waist pulls backwards. Really out the shoulder blades. Let's go for one more. Lengthen. Rolling it back. Pelvis tucks under, tailbone tucks under rather. Slowly place that spine down. Arms reach behind the head. Take a deep inhale breath. Exhale breath, arms come up. Anchor the shoulders. Chin reaches to chest. So almost think about lengthening the back of the neck. Imagine somebody peeling you up, pulling from just behind the head. As we roll back up, reach it nice and tall at the top. On this next one, let's forward fold. So if everybody just reaches those arms up, flexing through the ankles a little bit here, leading with the chest, we're going to reach forwards, finding that stretch into the back of the legs. Bring the hands all the way down to the legs if you want, just adding that gentle pull, just increasing that stretch. And release. Well done. So next exercise we're going to work is a seated rotational exercise. We're going to work that modified hip mobility. So we're going to bring the legs out nice and wide here. So we're wide legs, bent knees, hands down by the side of the body, fingers pointing forwards. So we're just going to roll the knees over in one direction and then just lean in over the knees Finding that really nice stretch into the hip, come back through center. Roll, knees roll over. You might start to edge forwards a little bit on this one, and then lean. Finding that mobility in the hip, making it a little bit harder. Let's remove the hands away from the floor, bringing those hands out in front, still adding in that little lean over the hip as we roll, leaning over. And then if you fancy a little bit more of a challenge, as the knees come down, we're going to lift the bottom up and press into the hip, and then slowly lower back down. But just again, take it at your level. There's a few options there for you. Every time my phone rings, sorry, I keep losing everybody. Let's go one more to each side. So as we come up on the knees, if you're working that level, really squeeze that tailbone between the legs, pressing into that hip, and then slowly lower that bottom down. Roll it back to center. Well done. We're going to come back and work the other side of the oblique. So we're coming back into that standing kneel position. So knees are directly underneath the hips. Really faffing around with my camera tonight. And then we're extending the left leg out to the side. So the left foot is directly in line with the right knee. We're coming into that double salute position. So we're nice and tall with the spine at this position. And then we're leaning away from that extended leg. So we're reaching that nice diagonal line with the body. We're going to drop that underneath arm. See if we can touch the floor with the fingertips. There's a bit of a gauge to how deep we're going. Come back to salute, and then bring ourselves back to that straight position with the spine. So leaning away, find that diagonal, bring the hand down, tap, salute, and pull back to center. Let's keep that going. So you should really feel that working the left side of the waist. And last three. Really think about lengthening the spine as we lean away as well. Exhale, breath as we pull ourselves back to center. Last two. Reach, reach, reach. So try not to flex, just reach, keep everything nice and long. Exhale, breath, pull ourselves back in. Last one. So find that diagonal line. Optional rotation here. So we're just going to rotate forward, taking that gaze down towards the floor. Really challenging those obliques. Bring the gaze back to front. And then exhale breath as we pull ourselves back to center. Well done. Coming down to side lying. Underneath side of the waist now. So we're coming down onto that right elbow. Shoulder nicely away from the ear. So really press that elbow into the floor. Level one, both legs are bent. I need a cameraman. So we're going to come up off the bottom here. So lifting those hips up towards the ceiling as we reach that left arm up directly above that left shoulder and lower back down with control. So you should feel that working the right hand side of the waist. A bit more of a challenge. Let's extend the left leg away as well and just press those hips up towards the ceiling and lower back down. So try not to crash down. Everything is done with control. Reach, 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 lengthen and lower. Last four. If it's straining the neck, just take that gaze down towards the mat. Three. Last two. And Last one. Exhale, breath. Really press those hips up. Keep the hip bones facing the front. Hold it there. And lower back down with control. Well done. Coming all the way down onto the side now. So popping the head onto the arm or the hand. Just making sure those hips are fixed, stacked rather. Feet tucked behind the bottom. Nice bend in the knee. Comfortable bend in the knee. So we're starting with that abduction of the top leg. So we lift the whole of this top left leg away from the underneath leg, lifting and lowering, trying to keep the knee and the foot on the same level. So try not to lead with the knee or the foot. Try not to rest at the bottom either. So it's just a little kiss the knees together and then straight back up again. Nice. Well, not nice. So keep it going. That looks really good. Lovely, Gemma. Nice. And last two. Hips are stacked. Make sure that core's switched on as well, so we've not sunk into the floor. Last one, we're going to stay lifted on this last one. We're working that external rotation, so knee stays put, toes tap together. Just a tap and then return, tap and return. So externally rotating that leg, just making sure we've worked that glute in every possible direction. Trying to roll back on the hips there. Keep the hips one on top of the other. Last three. And last one. Return that foot back, level with the knee. Foot stays where it is now. We're nearly done. So internally rotate, tap the knees together, and then back up again. You might feel this in the underneath glute as well. So that's tired because it's already done this and it's trying to stabilize everything. And last three. Ouch. Two. And last one. Bring that knee and foot back level. Slowly bring the knee and the foot back together again. Well done. Give that bottom a really good rub there. We'll do a nice pigeon stretch at the end. Rolling onto the back. Let's just release that glute off by bringing the left foot over the right knee, pressing the spine down into the floor before we bring that right leg up into tabletop position. Grab hold of the ankle. Just enjoy that stretch a little bit. You want to deepen it, just lift that spine away from the floor. And then before we return that right foot back down to the floor, make sure we just press the spine down into the mat and release that foot down. Bringing the left foot to join it. Next exercise we're going to work is single leg stretch. So finding neutral with the pelvis, we're going to bring one leg up into tabletop. Exhale, breath, deepen that core connection as the second leg comes up to join. So first, we're going to grab hold of the right knee. So bring the right knee towards the chest, bringing the hands over the knee, and then just lengthening that left leg away. So we're really imprinting the spine down into the floor here, and then we're going to switch. So it's a case of really stretching the leg away, but keeping that imprint of the spine. Really pull that knee towards the chest. Keep the elbows out nice and wide. Keep that spine connected to the floor. We can make it a little bit harder by lifting the head and shoulders up, pressing that spine further into the mat, bringing that knee almost up towards the nose, elbows stay out nice and wide. Really focus on the stretch here as that leg lengthens away, spine stays imprinted. Keep breathing, really exaggerate those exhale breaths. Let's go 4 more on each side. 4. Really reach those legs away. 3. Nearly done. 2. And last ones. And 1. Well done. Bring the head and shoulders down if they're not already. Bring the feet towards the bottom. Let's just work a couple of shoulder bridges. So we're going to bring the feet together side by side. So the ankles are touching, the feet are touching. Arms down by the side, lengthen collarbones out nice and wide. So we're just going to exhale, imprint the spine down, lift the pubic bone higher than the hip bones, and just start to peel the spine away from the floor, 1 vertebrae at a time. Coming up into that nice straight slope from knee to shoulder. We're going to work the inner thighs a little bit here as well. So we're going to allow the knees to fall out to the side. And then we're going to exhale breath, squeezing those knees together again. Imagine you're trying to hold on to a 20-pound note in between the knees. Inhale, release out to the side. Exhale, squeeze those knees together. It's those last couple of millimeters where we grip that 20-pound note between the knees. It really works those inner thighs. So it's a release as we inhale. Squeeze on that exhale. Let's go for 4 more. Squeeze, squeeze, squeeze. Release. Last 3. Keep that slight tuck of the tailbone. 2. And last one, inhale, breath, release, exhale, breath as we squeeze those knees together. Squeeze, squeeze, squeeze. Let's keep them squeezed. 3, 2, 1. Allow the knees to come out to the side. Take an inhale breath, exhale breath as we slowly start to roll that spine down, 1 vertebrae at a time until the bottom touches the floor. Finishing off quickly with a nice rolling one. We're going to bring the arms above the shoulders again. Let's try a roll up into seated. So inhale breath here, exhale breath, lengthening the back of the neck. Chin comes towards the chest. Start to peel the spine away from the floor. Imprint first. Use the elbow if you need to. One more. That's it. There we go. Reach it nice and tall. Let's forward fold. Find that stretch into the back of the legs. Little release stretch there. And then we're going to work seal, which is a rolling one. Quite a fun one to finish with. If you're really not keen on any of the rolling ones, you can just practice rolling like a ball. So that means feet come up onto the floor. We lift the feet away from the floor. We tuck up into a nice ball shape and just roll down the spine and back up again. So there is that option available if you don't fancy doing a seal. So seal, we bring the knees out to the side. So widening out through the legs, bringing the hands underneath, cupping the ankles, and then lifting the feet away from the floor. So grabbing hold of the feet, knees are out nice and wide. We're going to C-curve with the spine. So we roll back to the shoulders, try not to roll back to the neck, and then balancing at the top. And then we add in 3 little claps like a seal. It's a roll. Back up again, nice little massage of the spine. 3 claps, and that's no joke. This is actually a Pilates exercise. Roll it back. As promised. Nice. Perfecting the seal. Seb and I were out walking and saw seals yesterday, which reminded me of it. Nice and fun. And a little stretch into those inner thighs. Let's go for 2 more. Don't forget the claps. And the ow, ow, ow at the top. Last one. Ooh, stuck. Clap, clap, clap. And then place the feet down onto the floor. Well done. We're going to widen out through the legs for our stretch off. So again, sat nice and tall on the sit bones, spine's nice and tall. If you need to pop a bend into the knee there to keep that spine lengthened, that's absolutely fine. If we can manage straight legs, that's great. So we're going to bring the arms up towards the ceiling. Inhale, breath as we exhale. We're just going to reach forward, leading with the chest, reaching those arms forward, placing the hands down onto the floor and just holding that stretch. Ensuring that stretch on the inside of the thighs, back of the legs, into the spine. Into the hips. And then just have a little walk around to one side with the hands. Just walk the hands around, grabbing hold of the leg wherever we can, not behind the knee, but behind the calf thigh, and just easing ourselves down, nose towards the knee. And let's take a walk all the way back through the center, really stretching off those obliques as we walk through. Again, grabbing hold of the foot, any part of the leg we can, just easing the nose down towards the knee. Walking the hands again back to center. When we reach center, we're just going to walk the hands back towards the body, rebuilding the spine as we go. And then another oblique stretch because we worked those pretty hard tonight. So bringing the right hand to the inside of the right leg, palm pointing outwards. We're just going to lengthen through the spine, saluting with this left hand, sliding the right hand down towards the ankle, and then pressing into the right leg. We're just going to rotate, taking the gaze up towards the ceiling, just bringing that left elbow behind us and just hold that stretch. Okay, nice deep breaths. And then bring it back to center. We're going to bring the left hand to the inside of the left leg. Right hand comes up into a salute. Lengthen through the spine first before we slide down towards the ankle. And then press the back of the left hand into the leg as we rotate, taking that gaze up towards the ceiling. And then rotate back to center. We're coming all the way down onto our fronts for a nice cobra stretch. So really stretching down the abdominals. Just nice and see you all. So this time, let's bring the feet out nice and wide, relaxing the bottom. Hands to underneath the shoulders or just in front of. We're going to press the floor away from us, relaxing the bottom, elbows stay nice and close to the body until we find that stretch. Take the gaze towards the end of the mat there. And then just slowly lower back down. Engaging through the core, we're going to press up onto the knees, taking it back into a wide leg child's pose. So if you want to, widen out a little bit more through the knees as we come back. Really sitting down in between the heels, lowering that upper body down into the floor. And then just walking the hands slowly back towards you. We're going to come into a 4-point knee position. As promised, after all that awful glute work, we're going to do a nice pigeon stretch. So just bring the right knee in between the hands, bringing the right foot over the left knee, and then just walking back, leaning into that right glute, coming down to the elbows if we can, and just really putting some more weight into that stretch. Bring the forehead all the way down as well. Love a nice pigeon stretch. And then just let's slowly walk ourselves out before we do the other side. So going back onto the wrists again. Bringing that right knee back underneath the hip. Let's go with the other side. So left knee comes up, in between the hands. Bring that left foot across the right knee and just shuffle it back. Leaning into that left side and then down to the elbows if we can. Just relaxing into it. Stay in that position forever. Bring the hands back underneath the shoulders and then just wiggle out back into a 4-point kneeling position. Knees underneath hips, wrists underneath shoulders. Let's take it into a really lovely cat stretch now. So leading with the pelvis, find the stretch in the lower back before we allow it to go all the way up. Bring the gaze to in between the legs, chin towards the chest, elbows stay soft. And then let's untuck that tailbone and just allow the spine to fall down into a nice soft arch towards the floor with a gentle squeeze of the shoulder blades. Take the gaze to the front edge of the mat. And then again, let's find the in-between neutral position, so somewhere in the middle of those two extremes. We're going to turn the toes underneath, have a little sit back into the heels. Take an inhale breath, and as we exhale, off the knees, back into the heels, pressing the head in between the arms. Have a little pedal here if you like, easing those heels down towards the floor. And then for a change this week, we're going to leave the hands where they are and just take some very small baby steps with the feet up towards the hands. Try to leave the hands flat to the mat as we can until we feel we can place the weight back through the feet again. Return to that flop position, hopefully a little bit closer to the floor than we were at the beginning. Relax the neck, the shoulders, the arms, just let everything hang. And let's think about waking and restacking. So start to scoop the tummy button away from the thighs as we start to turn that tailbone under, and just let the spine follow as the pelvis becomes upright. Slowly restacking the spine on the way back up. And not forgetting the shoulders when we reach the top. So just do some really big shoulder rolling when we get there. And just slide those shoulder blades back. Ooh, well